Good day everyone. So our topic is all about taxation. Before we proceed to our discussion, let me first discuss a short history about taxation. So ancient Filipinos paid their taxes, or we call buwis, to their chief or dato for their protection under the Spanish rule in 1521 to 1898. Filipinos between 16 to 60 years old were forced to pay annual tributes to the King of Spain in 1884. This was called cedula. So, taxation is a system of raising money to finance government. All governments require payments of money, taxes from people. Governments use tax revenues to pay soldiers and police to build dams and roads, to operate schools and hospitals, to provide food to the poor and medical care to the elderly, and for hundreds of other purposes. Without taxes to fund its activities, government could not exist. There are many different kinds of taxes in the Philippines, but we can group them into two taxes, namely national taxes and local taxes. National taxes are those that we pay to government through the Bureau of Internal Revenue. For local taxes, these taxes, fees, or charges are imposed by the local government and barangays, who have been given the power to levy such taxes by the code. So now we'll proceed to the two types of taxes. The first one is local taxes, and it will be discussed by my co-members.
My topic is all about local taxations and the types of local taxation. So, first is, what is local taxation? So, local taxations, it is a taxes, fees, or charges are imposed by the local government with as stated in Republic Act 7160 on the Local Government Code of 1991. So, the payment of tax ID is directed to the local government and not to be national government through BIR. So, in other words, local taxes come in any forms from property taxes and payroll taxes and licensing fees. So, these are the types of local taxation. So, the first one is a tax on transfer of real property ownership. So, this type of taxations is imposed on the sales, donations, barter, or any other mode of transferring ownership or title of real property. The example on tax on transfer of real property ownership is yung nagbibili ka ng isang lote and yung ownership ng lote, di ba po, magkakaayusan pa yan and magkapirmahan para yung pangalan ng owner ng sa lote na kung sino nagbebenta is ma-change yung pangalan doon kung sino yung bumili ng lote. So next is the tax on business of printing and publication. So is imposed on the business of persons engaged in the printing or publications such as books, card, posters, certificates, receipts, and other of similar nature. So here in tax on business of printing and publications, mostly may nakikita tayo yung mga nagarental sa mga sa mga cities na public cities na mostly sa town may nakikita tayong mga printing shop ganun. Yung pwesto na nandoon is yung nagrenta lang sila. So, kada month, binibigay nila yung rental fees nila doon para ma-stay pa sila doon. So, next is the franchise tax. Next is the franchise tax. So, it also imposed the franchise business at rate exceeding 50% of 1% of the gross and annual receipt for the preceding calendar year based on the incoming receipt or realized with its territorial jurisdiction. So, example in here is when a person decide to franchise a food cart business in the Philippines, they also register their business as a sole proprietorship. So, franchise tax will pay the usual income and business taxes, including a 20% final withholding tax on royalty fees paid to the franchisor. So next taxes type of local taxation is the tax on sand, gravel, and other quarry resources. So it also imposed to tax on sand, gravel, and other quarry resources. So it's unordinary stones, sand, and ground earth, and quarry resources as defined under the National Revenue Code as amended, extracted from public lands or from the beds of seas, lakes, rivers, streams, creeks, and other public waters within its territorial jurisdiction. Next is the professional tax. So, professional tax is annual tax on each person engaged in the exercise or practice of his profession requiring government examination like civil service exam. So here, example is yung civil service exam. Yung pagte-take natin ng civil service exam is not only for free, but it has a fee na kailangan natin magbayad para makakuha ng civil service exam. So next is the amusement tax. So it's a tax to be collected from the proprietors, lessors, or operators of theaters, cinemas, concert halls, circuses, boxing, studio, and other places of amusement. So mostly nakikita natin to like sa cinema, 'di ba? Pagpasok natin dapat muna magbigay tayo ng yung fees na kailangan natin bayaran para makanood tayo ng movie na kung ano yung gusto natin. Yun lang. So, next is the annual fixed tax for every delivery truck or van of manufacturers or procedures, wholesalers, of dealers or retailers in certain products. So, it is an annual fixed tax for every truck, van, or any vehicle used by manufacturers, producers, wholesalers, dealers, or retailers in the delivery or distribution of distilled spirits, of fermented liqueurs, soft drinks, cigars, and cigarettes, and their products to sales outlets, consumer, whether directly or indirectly within the province. So, nakikita naman natin yung mga example here is yung mga panel, yung truck na deliver sila ng mga products na example is yung mga soft drinks, mostly cigarettes, yung pag di-distribute nila ng product sa sa mga tindahan, yun. 'Di ba may nakikita tayong mga parang receipt na kumbaga yun na yung distribute nila and yun na yun din yung binabayad natin or yun na.
So good evening everyone, this is my report presentation. I would like to tackle the types of national taxes. So the first is capital gains tax. So what is a capital gains tax? It's a tax imposed on gains that may have been realized by the seller from the sale, exchange, or deposition of capital assets located in the Philippines. These include pacto de retro, sales, and other forms of conditional sales. So capital gains tax ay isang uri ng buwis pinapataw sa kita o tubo mula sa pagbebenta ng isang ari-ariano investment na tumataas ang halaga. So, ito yung halimbawa ng ari-ariang binubuwisan or tax. The first is real property, lupa at bahay. And the second, stocks, mga shares ng kumpanya. And the third, personal properties, mga bagay tulad ng alahas o sining, depende ng batas. So, the second is documentary stamp tax. It is a tax on documents, instruments, loan agreements, and papers evidencing an acceptance, assignment, sale, or transfer of all obligations, rights, or property incident thereto. So, the documentary stamp tax or DST ay isang uri ng buwis na ipinapataw sa mga dokumento, papeles, kasunduan o instrumento na nagpapakita ng legal na transaksyon o paglapit ng ari-arian. So, saan ipinapataw ang documentary stamp tax? Ang DST or documentary stamp tax ay karaniwang binabayaran sa mga sumusunod ay ang mga kasunduan sa lupa at ari-arian, deeds of sale, donation o mortgage ng lupa, bahay o iba pang real property. The second is transaction sa bangko o financial na dokumento, mga loan agreements, promissory notes at mga deposit slips. And the third, mga shares o securities, paglipat ng ownership ng stocks o bonds. And the fourth, insurance policies, lahat ng uri ng insurance tulad ng life, health o property insurance. And the third is donor's tax, is a tax on donation or gift. It is imposed on the gratuitous transfer of property between two or more persons who are living at the time of the transfer. So, donor tax ay isang buwis na ipinapato sa halaga ng donasyon o regalo na ibinibigay ng isang tao o donors sa ibang tao o doni ng walang kapalit o bayad. Ito ay buwis sa paglipat ng yaman mula sa donor papunta sa doni at karaniwang binabayaran ng donor. Ito ay mga mahalagang punto ng kailan may donor's tax. So, kailan daw may donor's tax? Kapag ang donasyon ay lumilipas sa 200 to 2,500 sa loob ng isang taon, ang mahalaga ng donasyong lampas dito ay nasasakop ng buwis. Nalalapat ito sa paglipat ng pera, ari-arian o iba pang uri ng yaman. Sino ang nagbabayad ng donor's tax? Ang donor o ang nagbibigay ng donasyon ng responsable sa pagbabayad ng donor's tax. So, the fourth is estate tax. It's a tax on the right of the deceased person transmit to her estate to her lawfuls heirs, the beneficiaries at the time of death, and on certain transfer which are made by laws as equivalent to testamentary deposition. So, estate tax ay isang buwis na ipinapataw sa kabuuang halaga ng ari-arian, kayamanan o mga pag-ari-ariang isang tao na namatay. Ang buwis na ito ay binabayaran bago ipamana ang mga ari-arian sa mga tagapagmana o benepisyaryo. So, mga mahalagang punto ng estate tax. First is sino ang nagbabayad. Ang executor, administrator o tagapagmana ng namatay ay responsable sa pagbabayad ng estate tax. So, that's all my report. Thank you.
Income tax. Income tax is a tax on all yearly profits arising from property, professions, trades, or offices, or has a tax on person's income, emoluments, profits, and like. So, ang income tax on the earnings of individuals or businesses the tax's amount depends on your annual incomes and the tax rate applied. So, ang income tax ay nakaltas mula sa kita ng isang empleyado o negosyo. For example, kung kumita ka ng 500,000 kada taon at ang applicable rate ay 25%. So, ang babayaran mong income tax ay 125,000. So, let's proceed to percentage tax. Percentage tax is a business tax imposed on persons or entities who sells or less goods, properties, or services in the course of trades of business whose gross annual sales or receipts do not exceed 550,000 and are not VAT registered. So, ang percentage tax is a type of tax for small businesses that are not VAT registered. It is calculated as a percentage of the gross sales or receipts. Ang percentage tax, guys, ito ay tax para sa mga small businesses or hindi to registered sa BAT or VAT. For example, kung ang negosyo mo ay nagkaroon ng gross sales na 100,000 sa isang buwan at ang percentage tax rate ay 3% lang ang babayaran mong tax. So let's proceed to value-added tax or VAT tax. Value-added tax is a business tax imposed and collected from the sellers during trades or business on every sales or properties, real or personal, lease of goods, properties, real or personal, or vendors of services. So, ang value-added tax or VAT tax is a tax added to the price of goods or service at every stage of productions or distribution. Businesses registered under VAT charge is 12% on the top of the selling price. So, ang VAT tax ay binabayaran sa bawat pagbenta ng goods or services. Example, kung nagbebenta ka ng products na nagkakahalaga ng 1,000 at ang VAT rate ay 12%. Ang VAT tax ay 120 pesos. So, ang total na babayaran ng customer ay 1,120. So, let's proceed to withholding tax. Ang compensations is the tax withheld from individuals receiving purely compensations income. So, ang withholding tax is a tax deducted from the source from income payments such as salaries or payments to freelancers. It ensures tax are paid in advance. So, ang withholding tax, ito ay tax na direktang binabawasan mula sa sweldo o bayad sa supplier. For example, kung ang sweldo mo ay 30,000 at may 10% na withholding tax, so ang matatanggap mo na lang is 27,000. And that's all.